We're going to do top 5 QBs to start off our show.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to the Can't Lose Show. I'm your host, Trent.
And it's your boy, Josh.
Man, you guys know it's a 49er podcast. It wasn't our week, but we'll get into that in a little bit. You guys already know we have a whole segment towards the 49ers. Yeah. Let's get into what we learned from week 6 besides our 49er stuff right now.
So we got a couple of apologies to hand out.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Let's start with not necessarily super apology because, since last season, we've been riding for the Detroit Lions.
We have.
This is a Niners podcast, but we ride for the Lions.
Check our podcast, and I know we didn't start video last year, but even in our YouTube videos this year, we've given them credit. We haven't hated on them.
But go ahead and every top 5 we've done in the past 3 weeks, throw the Lions on there.
Yeah.
Offense, defense, overall team.
You can put them in our top 3s.
Yeah, they belong up there in all of them.
And our bad.
They're balling right now. Dan Campbell is the man. Jared Goff is the man.
Put Dan Campbell in for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, so my bad, Detroit.
Let me start off with a second apology. Browns defense. We did top 5 defenses 2 weeks ago.
We did top 6 too. I can't remember. There was a 6th one for sure.
Yeah, and we did not have them in at all. They have been statistically the best since 1971, and they weren't in our top 6. So, Browns, they have a legit defense. I don't know how we skipped them. Obviously,
what makes you throw them in there this week?
You guys held a powerful offense to a minimum, but I'm never gonna put the Niners down too much. So just leave it at that. Browns fans, enjoy that while it lasts.
Yeah.
Because it's the Browns.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know when it's gonna be the Browns again.
Exactly.
One thing we wanted to do this week, guys, for you guys and for ourselves, we love doing top 5 lists. We found that to be one of our favorite parts of our show. We're going to do top 5 QBs to start off our show.
Yes, sir.
I'll be straight with you guys. We have 5 of the same quarterbacks, but different order.
Yep.
So we're going to give you the list and why. Who's your 5?
My 5
or your number 5?
My number 5, I'm going to throw in there Josh Allen at number 5. He's been balling, but he's made some very questionable decisions. He's had some shaky games, but He's still Josh Allen. I think he's like number 2 in touchdowns or tied for second or something like that in touchdowns. He has 13 touchdowns. So
he's 3rd.
Yeah, but he's also got 6 interceptions. So.
Okay. Number 5 for me, I'm going Brock Purdy. I wish I was able to put him higher on my list. But going over the stats, and when I'm making this list, I gotta go off stats. There's some variables that you don't have to go off stats, but Purdy comes in at number 5 on my list. Has a 67% completion percentage, 10 TDs, 1 interception. If he had his TDs a little higher, I definitely would put him higher. And then his yards is down, but his team runs the ball very efficiently, so I could see why. But yeah, that's my number 5.
Yeah, I got Purdy at my number 3. But before we get to that, my number 4 is Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. That's my number 4 too, actually.
There's definitely some guys with stats that are better, a little bit better.
Okay.
But, it's just Mahomes, and he hasn't had the most help this season.
No, he hasn't. He's still performing very well, though.
And his defense has helped him a lot, but yeah.
11 tutties, 68% completion percentage, 5 interceptions, and 1,593 passing yards. Still looks very nice on paper.
Yeah.
But that was both of our number 4s. Your number 3, you said it was Purdy, right?
Yep.
Why do you have him higher, lower?
So I got him above these guys. He has less passing yards, less touchdowns than both of them, less completion percentage than both of them.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's just the decision making. That one interception, that stat right there stands out a lot to me.
Yeah.
You think about seasons where Aaron Rodgers, he threw, I forget how many touchdowns, and it was less than 5 interceptions in a season, and he did it twice. No other quarterback has done it twice. and it's only like 4 quarterbacks have ever done it. And it's just
Yeah,
throwing 1 interception in the first 6 weeks. That's
huge.
big time. Yeah,
That
and
is.
he threw it against the best defense right now, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I still got him up there. It's just the decision making that was what I like about Purdy.
Okay.
I feel like he makes a lot of good decisions, and he doesn't make a lot of bad ones.
Okay. So, an opposite to that, at number 3, I have Josh Allen. And you said in yours that he wasn't hired because of some of the interceptions, decision making. I put him a little higher because his yardage is up more, almost by 200 yards. As a quarterback, I love taking chances. At the beginning of the year, it's the best time to take those chances. You get comfortable with certain throws and realize what throws you can't have later in the season. So he's doing it now rather than finding out later.
You look like you don't even believe that shit yourself, bro. This fool was smiling. Boy, if you don't, he has the most interceptions on this list. 6 interceptions, bro. I'm not even a Josh Allen hater. I got him on my top 5.
I'm trying to make my point valid because that interception point you brought up right now for Purdy is so powerful, and I didn't even think about that when you're bringing it up. So I was just trying to figure out a way to justify my.
But for sure, I mean, Josh Allen is Josh Allen. I mean, Mahomes is Mahomes. So if you put them both above Purdy,
Yeah,
it makes sense. They're all interchangeable, like we said.
Yeah, I agree. Number 2, and honestly, never expected this on my list coming into this year.
Yeah,
he was kind of on the hot seat for a quarterback. Like they were thinking, if it is a down year, we could get someone next year or trade for someone, and that's Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, man, been balling. Another guy with, he's the second least interceptions on this list with 3.
Yeah.
So I mean,
69% completion percentage, 1,618 yards, second most.
Yeah.
Statistically, in game, on paper, I mean, and I don't know why I said that. That's like double standard. But in game and statistically, he's been balling. Like the throws he's making, the way he controls the game, he is playing like one of the top quarterbacks in our league, and that's why we have him at number 2.
Yeah, I agree with you, dude.
And number 1, guy's been balling.
Balling.
I don't know if it's the jiu-jitsu before or what, but hey, maybe it translated. And that's Tua. I'm not gonna butcher his last name, but
yeah.
He has 71% completion percentage, 14 TDs, 5 interceptions, and 1,876 passing yards. It's a little higher on the interceptions than we'd like at this point in the season, but he is releasing the ball a lot more than most, and it shows in the yardage.
Yeah,
it shows in the attempts.
And he still has 71 completion percentage. I mean, he's leading the league in touchdowns and yards. So
yeah.
And I mean, yeah, he has Tyreek and Waddle and McDaniel calling the plays, even Mostert throwing the ball too, and it helps when you're handing it off to him and he's scoring 3 touchdowns. And
yeah, it's opening up the playbook.
He's balling and he's doing what he's supposed to. People say the same thing about Purdy, but they're doing what they're supposed to.
Yeah, but and to give you guys our list fast,
yeah,
and so we could clip it, and then you guys could go back and watch on YouTube. Josh, your top 5 quarterbacks as right now, heading into Week 7 of the NFL.
I'm gonna go at number 1, Tua Tagovailoa. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. Number 1, Tua. Number 2, Jared Goff. Number 3, Brock Purdy. Number 4, Patrick Mahomes. And rounding it out at number 5, Josh Allen.
Okay. My top 5 quarterbacks heading into Week 7 are number 1, Tua. Number 2, Jared Goff. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Patrick Mahomes. And number 5, Brock Purdy. Bang, bang, Niner gang. He will be number 1.
Don't say that after putting him at 5.
He will be number 1.
That's like honorable mention, bro. No, I'm just kidding. We can't be biased on here.
Yeah.
No.
We will be, though. All right. That was actually a pretty little fun quarterback segment right there.
Yeah.
Let's let's look back at our Week 6 picks. Talking about our dogs matchups, games. You guys know, thank you for listening last week. So you already know who we picked as our dogs and stuff. Let's just review it and see if we hit.
Yeah. Tell them, did you hit this time?
Justin Herbert. It was my dog last week, as you guys know. He went 22 for 37, 225 passing yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. And I was kind of thinking, oh, that's pretty good. But watching that game on prime time, you cannot end the game in the final drive while you're trailing, chasing that last touchdown with an interception. And for that reason, he is not a dog this week.
Yeah. You can't expect dog of the week and then do that.
You have to come when the lights turn bright. You got to finish.
Yeah, you got to finish. My dog of the week, Stephon Diggs. I mean, he didn't have the touchdowns like we wanted, but man, 10 catches, double-digit receptions for 100 yards.
You can never complain at a receiver for that.
He was
did
moving
his
the
part.
chains, and he was doing his thing. So
okay,
I don't know. Dog of the week is so like it has to just go crazy. So
I would say
I'm gonna say it's a miss. Oh, but 10 catches for 100 yards.
Okay, you know how like dog of the week's like a big bad dog. I think he's just like dog of the week.
All right. Yeah, I'll take it. It's not a miss.
And Justin Herbert was not dog. You can't turn over the ball.
That pick, man.
All right, matchups. My matchup: Tyreek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon versus Jamar Chase. And I was talking to you about this before the show. I think it kind of was a split on. Jamar Chase did have 6 receptions for 80 yards, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see a touchdown on that stat. And then Tyreek and Devin Witherspoon, they combined for 4 pass breakups.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this one a split on this. I don't think one of them won the matchup. So what about yours?
I was looking through the stats, and it said Tariq Woolen, the other corner. His name just said Reek Woolen. Did he change his name already? Just got to the league.
You know, I saw that too. But I'm like, maybe they just don't have enough space on the.
So they don't put the beginning of his name.
Oh no! Hey, if we're wrong, sue us. Actually,
yeah. But all right, so I mean, it was a good matchup though. I mean, 4 pass deflections from your DBs and then 6 receptions for 80 yards. That was probably a good matchup to watch. My matchup: another receiver versus DB, and another DMP did not play.
Fuck.
Sauce Gardner. And I said you could throw in Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner didn't play.
No, they didn't. And I think we texted about that right when they alerted. Which
another one sucks. For me. But AJ Brown did his thing. He had 7 catches for 131 yards. Devontae Smith had like 4 catches or something for like 40 yards, but he had like a lot of targets. I think he had like 11 targets or something like that for like 4 catches. So he struggled. He had a drop or whatever, but
yeah. If you guys are ever wondering why we have some of those misses of did not play type deal, we are recording on Tuesday nights most of the time. So think about that. That's 5 days before Sunday football, 2 days before Thursday night. Like, injuries do happen throughout the week, or we think someone's going to progress and then they didn't. So sorry if we have those, but hey, it would have been a great matchup.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do that on guys that are questionable anymore.
Yeah, but
just leave it
sometimes it's such a nice matchup and you can't leave it out.
You can't help it.
All right, games last week. My Saints-Texans game was one of my games. The Texans defense looked strong in that game. They held the Saints, and it was a nice game again by C.J. Stroud.
Yes, sir.
And we wanted to put him on our top 5 quarterbacks. It's just he's knocking at the door. He did throw his first pick, however, but as a rookie, all the way to week 6.
Wasn't that against the Falcons, though?
Was it?
I think so. I could be wrong, but I don't know.
Anyway. Whatever. Either way, he's playing so efficient. He's playing to his abilities. He's not trying to be someone he's not. And he's looked nice over there. And, I mean, the Texans got the dub. So, what about your game?
D'Amico, dude. D'Amico's doing not too bad over there in Houston. My game is like your matchup. Seattle versus Cincy. I had Cincy pulling it out. I thought it was going to be a big game for their offense. Like, I thought it was going to be a big game for everyone. Joe Burrow was going to heat up. I mean, they got the job done. They got another win, and they're in the win column again, which is huge for them, especially in the NFL. I mean, a win's a win. So
especially off their start.
Yeah, but that matchup, Spoon and Reek Woolen, I guess now Reek Woolen versus Chase. I mean, you got T Higgins over there, Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good game. I thought it was going to be a high scoring, but defenses did their jobs.
Yeah. Your other game?
Eagles versus Jets.
Thank you, Coach Robert Saleh.
Dude, he's looking out. He's still looking out. Oh, let's go.
Hey, what an upset over there. Like, I understand you guys are going to be now fighting, ready to comment. Well, the Niners lost too. Okay, we're talking about the damn Eagles-Jets game right now.
Yeah,
So
we're going to get into that.
yeah, no one expected the Jets to win because their offense has been horrendous. Zach Wilson hasn't got it going. But you got to realize the Jets defense is a top defense in the league.
Yeah.
Like, when you put stress on Jalen Hurts and make him play to someone Jalen Hurts isn't, that's the result you're going to get right there. Like, and he looked like he didn't know what he was doing. And he's a top quarterback in the league. Like, he's a top 10 quarterback, and they made him look silly.
Yeah,
so they did their job.
3 picks on when the 2 starting corners are out as well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everyone has those games. People are talking crazy about Jalen Hurts right now. I don't think.
No, there's no panic button.
Yeah.
Everyone has an off game, and that's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Cowboys Chargers was my other game, and it went back and forth. And like I hit on earlier about Justin Herbert, he didn't deliver when the lights were bright, or he didn't deliver when the lights were bright, and Dak did. Dak had a bounce back game. He actually played very, very well throughout majority of the game, and he was able to lead his team down the field for that final drive, and they won. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to hype up the Cowboys too much.
Yeah, forget about it.
Is it time?
It's time.
You know, like that. The one announcer. It's time. Insert clip. We'll use it. We're not that big yet, so. All right, let's roll. 49er segment. Let's do it.
It's got to be it can't be that hyped up. It's not time like that today, dude. First L of the season.
Okay, but let's look at some positives first.
All right.
Fred Warner.
You don't want to get the negative out the way.
You guys want negative? All right, you guys want negative. All right, I felt you guys' pressure on the screen, so let's do negatives first.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to get it out the way, man. I mean, it hurts, dude. That Browns defense dominated.
I haven't seen a team in that long do that to our offense.
Yeah, dude, they bullied us. After that first drive, I mean, we marched down the field and I was hyped. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
The Browns are in for one. But, wow, they picked it up. They adjusted after that first drive. And they were all over our backfield all game.
They were swarming. Our O-line could not stop them. Trent Williams had his worst blocking grade game in his entire NFL career against Myles Garrett, which is a beast.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But it's also Trent Williams. He doesn't give those to star players.
Yeah.
Their defense, they were the superior part of the game. Like, and when we have opportunities, we find a guy open and then we have drops. It hurts. You can't manage an offense when you're 2nd and 10 and you have a completion for 15. What would be a completion for 15 yards? Hits him in the hands, drop. He's arguably up for wide receiver 1, top in the league. You're not going to keep that title if you're dropping balls like that. Yeah. It just can't happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to be, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because
the weather?
The weather.
Okay.
That's the only... Nah, but I feel you. He needs to catch those passes because it's not just this game.
Yeah.
It's not just the rain game. It's happened before. But he is a dog, and he'll bounce back.
There's things we need to tighten up. And even on the defensive side, we got beat too much. They're finding holes in our defense. Some guys were just flat out getting beat. And one of our corners took to Instagram, and he said, like, yeah, I got to be better, And
Who was it, Demo?
Demo, yeah.
Yeah.
And
he got.
yeah,
Oh yeah, we're not talking
Amari
about it.
Cooper kind of went off, and but yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too negative on our own team, so let's get back into the positives.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do it.
fair deal. Fred Warner, masterful performance again.
Another pick.
Another pick, adding to the stats. If he wants to play defense, if he wants to be defensive player of the year, he's going to have to add to those stats.
Yeah,
And he did.
Every week he's got to do it.
Yeah, and like if there's one player I go into each week like, okay, I know he's gonna have a good game. Like I'm not too worried about that one guy. It has to be him now.
Yeah.
Like he is truly the cornerstone of our defense. Like everything goes through him.
Yeah.
And he's just setting up our whole team to be in the right spot. So that's one of my bright spots. What's one of yours?
I mean, just the fact that when we were struggling and back against the wall, I know we missed the field goal, but just the fact that Purdy got it together and drove it down the field and got us into position to win, that made me feel a lot better. He missed some throws and he had some little slip out of his hands, and some mishaps, but I think he made up for it. And oh man, I know the haters still hating after that game that he had, his first interception of the entire season, but he made up for it on that last drive in my eyes.
Agreed. And what a lot of people don't know, well, maybe they do know if you paid enough attention, is, and I'm not making this an excuse why we lost, because the Browns earned it. They played better. But we were also down two key offensive players in that final drive. You don't have Christian McCaffrey, which is a lot of his checkdowns. He loves throwing those checkdowns to him. And then you have Deebo Samuel, who's arguably one of the best yards after the catch.
A fucking wrecking ball.
And you don't have him. And he's still able to piece together with Ayuk, Jawan, what's his name? Ray, and Elijah or
JP Mason.
Exactly. So not your typical star players, and still able to get us in field goal range. And like Fred said, he's not going to put the game on Moody, but also as a fan's perspective, right? We did spend the third round pick. It's going to be a growing pain. Our last kicker just happened to be one of the best for the longest of times in the NFL. So it's a learning curve for all of us. For Moody in game experience, and as a fan, we were blessed for so long.
Yeah, and I mean, don't give up on Moody yet either, dude. He's made the 57-yarder. He's made multiple.
He was 9 for 9 going into the game. Like
yeah.
he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
That's all I have for this past game. I want to get a fresh start and get into the new game.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's jump right into arguably. Why did I say arguably? Primetime football. We're going Monday Night Football. What a time to bounce back in front of everyone and be like, all right, shut up. We are the real deal.
Yeah.
Put us back at number 1 on your power rankings. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. We need a big bounce back game. And I think the guy that's going to have the biggest bounce back game, you're going to look to Purdy and Ayuk to have a game just like that week 1 game against the Steelers.
Okay.
I'm calling Ayuk for at least 8 catches and 120 yards or so and another 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I like that.
Big week for him. He's mad at those drops.
Yeah, he's not one that takes his failure lightly. Most guys in the NFL don't. So I kind of expect that, and I was kind of leaning that way, but due to I want to say something else and not be on the same exact as you, I'm actually thinking George Kittle. Why? George Kittle ran like 23 routes, I think he said. He got the ball once. So I think he's going to force his way to find a way open and get the ball delivered. And I think he'll just prove to everyone that, he's the best tight end.
This game,
Vikings, Niners.
Time football.
Monday Night Football.
So you think Kittle's going to have a game? I think Ayuk's going to have a game. Why not both?
Yeah, why not? Let Brock throw 4 touchdowns and, get right back on the horse,
Mm-hmm.
Also, on defense, I think this is a great opportunity. I know no Justin Jefferson, but Kirk Cousins has been dealing. Let's go stop a quarterback that's been doing good.
Yeah.
You know, I know their record doesn't show that, but his stats do. And I want our defense to get comfortable because he's gonna take shots. So let's go shut them down.
Yeah, and you know, just like how the Cowboys are saying they had the number one defense, and the Niners took it personally and wanted to prove that they had that number one defense. Now it's the same thing. The Browns feel like they had that number one defense. I know they're not playing the Browns, but they just played them, and they're feeling that loss. They're feeling that defense.
Yeah.
They want to go prove themselves. So I like that. The defensive line is going to get after it. But I think go to the other side too, the O-line.
They gotta redeem themselves.
They got to redeem themselves. A lot of people are talking. Even before this game, I saw on some pages that our biggest flaw was our O-line.
Mhm.
They're going to be coming for revenge. And
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some beautiful holes for McCaffrey, Mitchell, Mason, whoever's carrying the ball.
Yeah, I agree. You got Trent Williams and Aaron Banks. They're arguably Pro Bowlers this year so far statistically. You got to have our other three step up though. You can't just have two strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they piece it all together, they're playing in sync. They'll do their part where McCaffrey, just give McCaffrey the gap, you know, and he'll hit it full speed.
Yeah, even Mitchell, dude, when he's playing, he's proved he's a dog. He runs downhill and he'll get the yards after contact, and
Yeah.
he can do it too. And JP Mason, dude, I'm comfortable with whoever is carrying the rock as long as our offense is making at least a little hole for them.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's jump ahead.
Wait. You know how you said the D-line has to step up this week?
Yeah.
They're going to ball out, get after that quarterback. I think something crazy is going to happen. Our all-star lineup, Bosa, Hargrave, Armstead, newly added Randy Gregory, who already added a sack and a couple tackles for loss.
Yeah.
And Drake Jackson. I think they all get a sack. Why not?
Why not?
Maybe
let's
even
pound it on them.
Maybe even throw Warner in there with a sack. Greenlaw if he's back healthy.
You know, like one of those games where your team has like double-digit sacks. Why not this week?
Why not?
All right. Let's get into look ahead to next week, week 7 being in the NFL. But guys, got a little special guest, so let's let him join in and we'll get right to it. Alrighty, guys. I want to welcome our guest Jayce. Thank you for joining. It's been a little progress to get you on, right? I think we pushed it back 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Guys, we are at our look ahead point in the week, where we like to pick our dogs. So we'll let you get it kicked off with your dog of the week since you're our guest.
All right, my dog of the week. There's so many good games this week. I think you guys are. I could go a Niner player here, but I think McCaffrey's out, or I think for sure he would have a field day against the Vikings.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think my dog of the week for this week. This one's questionable, but I'm gonna say he has a bounce back game. I'm gonna take Herbert.
Ooh.
I love Justin Herbert.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of him. I think coming into Arrowhead, it's going to be a good game. I believe it's the game of the week. So yeah, I like that matchup. I think he's always played well against the Chiefs. It's always a one-score battle. And, this Chiefs team, in my opinion, compared to previous years, the offense isn't looking as good, but their defense is looking really good. But I feel like Herbert can have a bounce-back game. So I'm picking Herbert.
This is their first, not their first big test. They played the Lions, first game of the season without Kelsey, but this is their first big test. Oh, I guess that's defense, though. But this is the Chiefs' defensive test against the fucking Chargers with the strong quarterback, Herbert. I mean,
yeah, and
that's a good pick.
Herbert's got to bounce back. I picked him as my dog of the week last week, and I didn't give him dog worthy, even though his stats were nice. He threw the pick at the final drive. And that just eliminates the dog. So I really like your pick, and I could see that happening, especially because it's against the Chiefs,
divisional game.
Yeah,
that's a big game.
Stakes are high on that one. Josh, your dog now?
My dog of the week this week, I'm going with. I hate to do it. I've done this a couple weeks. I've picked some of our rivals' players, but I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp this week. I mean, Matthew Stafford's favorite target. And you know TJ Watt's gonna be coming after him quick, and he's just gonna be getting rid of it to his favorite guy, Kupp. I think it's gonna be all game. I think he's gonna have like an absurd stat line, double digit catches for sure, probably plus 12. Like, I don't know. He's gonna be the guy.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
I like that pick.
I like that pick because with Kyron Williams being out, I feel like this year in particular, they've kind of been a run first team. So now with him out, they're going to be passing a lot more. That's actually a really good pick. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, and you know TJ Watt's going to be getting after him, so he's going to have to get rid of it quick.
Yeah, and one thing I love about Cooper Kupp this year is he came off the IR, right? And there was no like slow play, get him amped up. He's been go, 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 go.
Yeah, the first he got like 4 catches in a row on the first drive.
If you're saying like that's an amp up, what's he gonna do this weekend? So that's perfect pick right there.
For sure. So what's your dog of the week this week?
My dog of the week for week 7 is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to play in Baltimore this week against the Ravens. And it's just, I think the Lions are such a complete team. We have them high on our power rankings now. And if we didn't before, like we said in the beginning of the show, sorry, like they're up there. And in order for them to win this game, Amon-Ra has to do his thing. So I'm thinking 11 catches, 140 yards, and 2 TDs. So that's my stat for him.
That's a stat.
Love it. Right. Love it.
Hell yeah. I mean, he definitely needs a game because, you know, the Ravens, they've got the linebackers of Quan Smith and Patrick Queen. Yeah. So that run game is going to be tough, but Amon-Ra is going to have to get going if they want to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that pick. I think Jared Goff has had a super, super good year. He's looking like his first couple years, like he looked on the Rams when they went to the Super Bowl. So I love that pick. I love what the Lions are doing. You know, I still believe this might be a hot take, but I think they're the most underrated team in the league right now, and they're not getting talked about enough. I think
they need their respect.
Right now, I'd probably put them second in the NFC after the Niners. I would.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I put 2.
That's what we talked about pre-show, actually. Yeah. We were trying to figure out, like, where they fit in the NFL, and I still think the Niners are up there. Yeah, we're coming off a loss, but I see it 49ers, Dolphins, Lions. Like, that's just how I see it, and the respect for the Lions needs to be there because it's not right now.
Yeah. It'll come. Yeah.
It's not the same old Lions.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our matchups. Did you pick a matchup for this week? It could be a receiver versus corner, coach versus coach, quarterback on quarterback, whatever you want.
Yeah. So, man, there's a lot here. Man, I feel like for a matchup that I might like here, trying to look for a good one here. I feel like for me personally, I feel like a tough matchup. It's not really one-on-one, you could say, but I want to see. So with the Rams versus Steelers game, obviously the story is going to be if they could contain TJ Watt. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's going to be a fun matchup to watch because, you know, right now he's looking like the defensive player of the year. I know there's a lot of time, a lot of weeks left, but I feel like that matchup could be a huge, huge part of if Steelers can win or not. Obviously, Kyron Williams out will help him a little bit, but I feel like that matchup right there is probably a fun matchup I'm going to want to watch this week.
TJ Watt against any 3 offensive players that they put on him is going to be fun to watch. He's a monster, dude.
And if they're not putting 3 blockers on him, you're doing something wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Even more fun to watch. To see him go to work one-on-one. Oh,
yeah. I like that, dude.
Who's your matchup of the week, T-Dog?
My matchup of the week is coach versus coach. It's going to be Todd Bowles versus Arthur Smith. It's a divisional game. Very identical records. I think this game's going to be who puts their younger quarterback in a better situation to win. And that's why I went with a coach versus coach. It's talent-wise, I think they're kind of even around the board. So what coach is going to put their team in a better situation to win? And I think Arthur Smith is going to do it this week, especially with Todd Bowles. He may be without his quarterback. I know he's questionable. I don't know how questionable, but I see Arthur Smith and the Falcons pulling this one out. So
that. I like that matchup. I always like a good coach on coach matchup. can't always go with the typical wide receiver versus corner matchup.
Yeah. What about yours? I think we haven't done yours yet.
My matchup this week is going to be Tua versus Hurts, the old Alabama quarterback, competition.
I like that one.
Tua took his spot in the Natty, and I mean Hurts is coming off a loss, so he's got a lot to prove. And I mean, a lot of haters are coming out Hurts right now, so it's just going to be a fun matchup. See how Tua is going to respond against a really good defense, and then Hurts coming off a loss, like I said.
Yeah. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, no, I love that pick. I think it's the Sunday night game, right? I believe.
Yeah.
It's a great that's going to be, that's one of the better Sunday night games we've had this year. I think it's going to be a good one. I think as far as with the Eagles go, obviously they need to bounce back. Hurts probably had his worst game of the year last year, and probably one of the worser games I've seen from him in a while. And the Eagles line in general as well did not look good last week, and that never happens. They're always dominating the line of scrimmage. Yeah. 1 through 5, both tackles, center, and guards. I think they have the best line in football, just full line. And so for the Jets to control it last week for most of the game, that was we don't see that a lot. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's going to be a good bounce back game for them, but it's going to be tough. I know they're home, but they're playing the best offense in the league, so it's going to be a fun one.
For sure. I'm excited for that matchup. I think it's going to be fireworks, and I don't think either defense is going to have their best game this weekend.
Shoot. That would get us out of the NFL for now, but I did want to spring on one question to you. I didn't even text you this to pre-warn you, but everyone, Jayce is a Green Bay Packers fan. Your season hasn't gone according to plan. It's not looking like a Super Bowl season. What would you like for them to do, to turn this around? It doesn't have to be like this season. Obviously, you're probably not going to make that run. But what you thinking for moving forward for this team?
So I think that's a great question. Right now, Jordan Love's receiving so much hate. I don't understand that. You look at Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. They both won 6 games in their first NFL season. So I didn't even expect to make the playoffs this year. I had no expectations whatsoever. Obviously, the Raiders game in week 5, that was so bad to watch. That game, that was bad to watch. I can't remember the last time I saw a Packer quarterback throw 3 picks in a primetime game. So that was a really hard game to watch for me. The Falcons won as well in week 2. Obviously, that was Ritter's best game of the season. Our luck. But obviously, you got to credit Arthur Smith, like you said earlier. He's a hell of a coach. Bijan Robinson's a dog. So that one stung as well. But, the Lions won. That one, they're the second best team in the NFC right now, in my opinion. I already knew we were going to lose that game. So just kind of going forward, if we make the playoffs, if we don't make the playoffs, obviously I'll be disappointed, but I'm not going to be upset or anything. Like I said, we're the youngest NFL team in the league. I think our average age is like 24 or 25. I also saw another stat this week is that we're playing the most rookie guys on snaps this year over any other team. So, there's going to be a lot of learning curves.
For sure.
So, as Packer fans, we got to be patient. And I think Aaron Rodgers said it best on the Pat McAfee show last week. He told everyone that, hey, Love's going to be around a while. You got to be patient. He's a good kid. He's a good learner. He studies film a lot. So I'm not worried. I know a lot of people are already saying that they need to move on from Love. I find that funny because he has shown flashes this year that he can get the job done. Obviously, he has a lot of work to do, whether it comes to accuracy, decision-making, deep ball a little better, little things like that. But obviously, that's going to take time. He played 5 games this year. And I think he started 1 game against the Chiefs when Rodgers was on COVID. So he's only started 6 games. I'm not worried completely. I want to still try and win, 7, 8, 9 games in that range. If we win less than 7, I'm going to be worried for sure. But I think, with Aaron Jones, who we haven't had since week 1, obviously our most valuable offensive weapon, you saw what he can do on both the running game and passing game. Yeah. I know it was the Bears, but we scored, 34 points or whatever it was. So, I just want to see progression. I want to see improvement. And I feel like right now we're not seeing that because we started out really good at 2-1, and now we're starting to go down. So I just want to see improvement from Jordan Love and just maturity. But yeah, That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, people are so up and down and way too quick to just give up and bash a guy. I mean, still so young. And like you said, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, 6 wins. And I mean, you know the story. Peyton Manning, he threw all those interceptions in his first couple years or whatever. They're so young and it's so early, too quick to tell.
Coming from a team that got rid of a third overall pick within 2 years, like we know the rush. 49ers were in a different situation though. We were in a win now Super Bowl caliber team. Like the Green Bay Packers, they could afford to use this year as a learning and get into the win now next year. So no rush, no panic on Jordan Love for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a perfect time for a rebuild. Obviously, we had, the Rodgers to Adams connection, one of the best connections we've seen in a while. Obviously, you guys stun us in the back a couple times, or we would probably have won a ring there. But yeah, it's, I think it was a perfect time for a rebuild. Obviously, Rodgers is going to be 40 soon, but, it is what it is.
Yeah. Hey, that weird face was not at you. It was someone hitting the wall that our studio connects to. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Nah, you're good, man.
All right, let's close out the NFL for this week. Let's go outside the NFL, but staying in football, college football. Notre Dame on top, baby. 48-20. I just want to throw it on you. Caleb Williams did not look like a Heisman. 3 interceptions. Our defense had this guy worried, sick. His O-line was trash. His defense was trash. They haven't faced this competition all year, and their schedule does not get any easier. And I know you're going to try to pull in this hand right now for a fight on, but don't fight on. Notre Dame is on top, and you could eat. I'm not even going to say the next word. Jayce, UCLA fan, did you love seeing USC lose?
Well, one thing that I want to say is this. Caleb Williams is a hell of a quarterback. But they're already saying he's going to be the next Mahomes. People need to slow down. Like you said, they haven't faced an elite defense all year. Once they face one, Caleb Williams throws 3 picks in 1 half. So that was a bad game for Caleb Williams for sure. But, I'm not sold on this USC team in general. Their defense is so bad whatsoever. And, they have probably the best offense in the nation, averaging, I think it was like 48 points a game. But their defense is giving up 40 points a game. So, that's where they're at right now.
Tough being a fucking USC fan, dude. It's Lincoln Riley, bro. I mean, he was in Oklahoma. He always had the quarterbacks, the offense. When did he ever have the defense, dude? Never. It's never happened.
You think he would figure that out by now. But he doesn't. And Notre Dame whipped that ass. All right. I'm done with college football, and I want to get into some NBA. We haven't really sparked NBA talk. We're going to as it's ramping up. It starts next week on Tuesday. So, Jayce, I know you love to talk about basketball. If guys, I didn't introduce Jayce right. I'll say it on the closing part, but right now he has a podcast, Up Your Score. Go check it out on Spotify, anywhere you stream, correct? And on YouTube now. So I want you to break down your top 5 NBA title contenders as we sit right now.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I actually recorded a NBA one yesterday. So this is perfect, fresh off my mind. Does it have to be in a specific order, or is it just 5 teams?
I would like an order, but no pressure. You could just give your 5.
It's so early if you can't.
Okay. So,
and you could totally be biased if you want. I mean,
yeah.
I'm going to be biased on my team.
Yeah. So, okay. So I have Celtics really quick as the 1 seed to get the number 1 seed. However, they are not my number 1 favorite. I'm going to go with the Bucks just because Damian Lillard and Giannis, I mean, this duo is going to be scary. And Lakers coach Darvin Ham said it best. He was obviously the assistant coach with the Bucks when they won the ring. And he pretty much just told everyone, good luck. It's going to be a hard duo to stop. And not only do they have them, but they kept Middleton too in that trade. I think that was super impressive. We saw what Middleton did against the Suns in that finals. I mean, this guy turned into a prime Kobe. Like he wasn't missing shots. So if he can get back to that level with Damian Lillard and Giannis, I think that has to be number 1 in my opinion right now. Number 2, I'm going to be a little biased here. I'm going to put the Lakers at 2. Here is why.
Yes,
okay.
Here is why. If you're a Lakers fan or not.
The Lakers last year had a weird season, right? They start out 2-10. Everyone was counting them out. They come all the way back, and LeBron barely comes back just in time for the playoffs, and they go to the Western Conference Finals. And not only did they do it, but they beat the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors. They beat a very cocky team in the Memphis Grizzlies. So, I think that run was super impressive. And if LeBron, if he had more time before the playoffs, like he literally came back and it was game 1 of the playoffs. I really believe if they had some more games played with their whole chemistry together, I'm not saying they would have beat Denver, but it definitely would have been a sweep. That was obviously an ugly series. But the reason why I'm going Lakers is you look at what they did, right? They extended Austin Reeves. They extended Jared Vanderbilt. They extended Rui Hachimura. Those 3 guys were very, very huge in those playoffs. And then they signed Jackson Hayes. They signed Christian Wood, who I am super high on.
Yes.
For his career, he's averaging, 17 and 10 off the bench. How would you not want that? And then they add Gabe Vincent, who was a huge part of the Heat's finals appearance last year. So I'm liking our bench. I think by far we have the best bench in the league. I don't even think that's being biased. Like, if you just look, we have the best bench in the league.
Which they haven't had in recent years.
No.
That's kind of been their weak point.
Yes, I agree. And so, as long as all those players that performed last year do it again, I think we can make the finals. I know the West, super tough.
Yeah.
Super tough. But
So-
I think we have a chance.
Okay. So you got Bucks at 1, Lakers at 2. Who rounds out your 3, 4, and 5?
So for 3, I'm gonna go Celtics.
Okay. 4.
I'm gonna go Celtics. 4, I'll probably go Suns just because they got the best starting 5 in the league.
Okay.
And then at 5, I probably just gotta go with the defending champs in Denver. But yeah, that would be my 5.
So no Warriors. All right. I'm gonna go opposite of you. I'm gonna give you my list. Since you didn't want to add them on yours. I got number 1, Warriors. I don't even need to explain this. The experience on this team is insane. They're gonna run into some issues with depth, but I think the experience is gonna excel them, and we'll be holding up the trophy at the end of the year. And you guys won't. And then number 2, I got the Bucks. Number 3, I got Nuggets. Number 4, I got Celtics. And number 5, I have the Lakers. Okay. I think the winner's definitely coming out of the West. My list was West heavy for sure. But that's my list. Josh, what's yours?
Originally, I wrote on here, I had the Nuggets at 2. Kind of just after thinking a little bit, I got to agree with Jayce. Me personally, I'm a little more biased than you. I got my Lakers at 1. They got LeBron fucking James, Anthony fucking Davis. We talked about the bench. I mean, come on. But my number 2, I'm going with the Bucks. You're right, dude. They are looking dangerous this year. Dame did it, dude. He got out of Portland finally. But the Nuggets, I don't know if I want to put them at 3, 4, or 5 anymore. I'm gonna put them at 3. They did it. I mean, Jokic is insane, dude. What should have been 3-peated MVP, for being honest here. He's insane. I mean, their team was insane. They were hitting all the shots, playing great defense, moving the ball. But number 4, I'm going Celtics. And number 5, I got the Warriors in there. I'm not too high on the Suns. I know their starting roster is crazy. But something about KD and Book.
They always find a way to.
So real quick, here's why I don't have the Warriors, because I'm pretty sure you're wondering why. Chris Paul.
Punch you. You're lucky you threw a camera.
Chris Paul is just not going to fit well with them. He's not going to fit well with them. They're starting Klay Thompson at the 4. That's not going to work. That's a defensive mismatch.
That's insane.
So I just don't understand what Steve Kerr is going to do. Obviously, he's a mastermind. I know he's a great coach. He's going to find a way. But I just, when you face the Jokic's, the LeBrons, the Durants, the Bookers, I just don't see him getting past those teams.
I think so. My argument to that is we're going to experiment at the beginning of the season for sure with that, with the rotation, how you want to see it. I really see towards the middle end of the season that Chris Paul is going to be coming off the bench. Because when Steph Curry wasn't on the floor, we are terrible in point differential. And I think that's where it's going to help, where you could get Curry off the floor, get him his rest, and Paul will be in and keep that even or if not a little bit like better for the Warriors. And I know they're saying he's going to start right now, but I just think it's going to end up being coming off the bench, where that's going to turn our season around.
Yeah, I love that. I was actually going to ask you that, but you answered my question. I think he would be better off the bench. And like you said, when Curry's out, it showed last year in the playoffs. They just didn't have the depth.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. You could never doubt,
You're wrong.
the Smash Bros. So
Yeah, that's why I threw him in my top 5, to be honest, just because. I mean, Trent said the experience.
All right. One thing, okay, we're taking long shots at this because it's the NBA title is so far away. One that is far, far away. What's not far away is the World Series. It is one series away. So who is your favorite in the World Series right now?
And it's tough. Rangers up 2-0 right now in the ALCS, the only undefeated team. But then you're looking at the Phillies. I think they're beating the D-backs right now like 10-0.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be between those two. But, I'm sad. I'm going for the D-backs in this playoffs, obviously, because I live here. But obviously, I'm liking what they're doing. Their young core. This is just the start of the rebuild. But for the Phillies on the other side, I mean, their lineup top to bottom, it's just ridiculous. And I just, I want to pick the Rangers. They've never won a World Series. Obviously, they could have won it in 2011, but they choked against the Cardinals. But for me personally, I'm probably going to have to pick the Phillies. They obviously came up a little short last year, losing to the Astros in the World Series. So, they're hungry. They want their redemption. They're just having a blast. And I think that's the most popular pick. So I got to go Phillies.
I think Josh agrees with you on that. Am I wrong?
Yeah, we can all agree on. I think we can all agree on one thing though: is fuck the Houston Astros. Right?
Oh yeah,
nobody wants them to win. That.
Yeah, I have the Rangers opposite of you guys. For the reason they don't have a World Series, represent the AL West. I'm an Angels fan. I mean, if we're not going to represent the AL West, might as well have the champs represent it. So I'm hoping the winner does come out of there, except not Houston. If it's Houston against Philly or Houston against Diamondbacks, by all means, Diamondbacks or Philly could take it. But I got the Rangers.
Yeah, no, I love that pick. Like we said, they're the only undefeated team left right now. They're kicking the Astros' butts up 2-0. Now they're going back home. I could potentially see a sweep. But, yeah, I think Rangers for sure make it. I think Phillies are probably going to make it. So I think that's going to be a good matchup there.
All right, man. Well, I know you expanded our brains. I hope our listeners got a little good piece. If you guys want more knowledge, go check out Up Your Score podcast. It is him, and he sometimes had guests on. I've been a guest on his show. Would love to be back on. You're more than welcome to come back on our show. This was smooth. I hope the audio comes out clean for everyone listening and watching.
Yeah, hopefully better than Cowboys.
Yeah, the Chandler one, that was kind of shitty. But it's a learning curve, guys. Thank you, Jayce, again.
Yeah, of course.
Much love,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yes, sir.
Right,
like I said, that was Jayce from Up Your Score podcast. Thank you so much, man, for joining.
Yeah, tune in for sure to his podcast. He's got some good stuff over there. I checked out his episode of Trent. That's a good one for sure.
Yeah, he's on YouTube. But let's finish out this show. Let's talk UFC. It's happening. UFC 294 is on deck this weekend.
We almost didn't get into it, but we had to get into it. It's a big weekend this weekend.
Josh's going to break it down. Let's do it.
There's a crazy switch up a week or so ago, and it honestly might have made the card even a little bit better.
I think so.
Dude, I mean, you got two guys moving up in weight classes. You got Volk moving up to lightweight to fight Islam, challenge him for the lightweight championship. And he did this. He said he was weighing 181 pounds when he got the call. He has to fight at 155.
181. I didn't hear that, but that's insane.
And it was on like 10 days, 11 days notice.
These professionals, they'll get done.
These guys are dogs. And then, but I'm taking Volk in that one.
Okay.
He was so close to getting it done last time they fought. This is a rematch. I'm taking Volk. It's going to be tough. I mean, on 11 days notice, cutting all that weight and everything. But
we can't let that be an excuse.
Yeah, no,
he took the fight.
For sure, but I'm just saying, that's my reason, not an excuse, but it's going to be tough, and I'm rooting for my dog, Volk. You got Volk or Islam in that one?
I got Volk.
Let's go.
I said, look. That's funny. I said this. Taking the fight on short notice against Islam, I'm taking Alexander because I think he is an ultimate pro. He's going to be able to handle.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
let's go.
mean, oh man, I don't even know if that's true that he was 180 pounds. I feel like he has to be somewhat ready at all times, dude. Islam is fighting. You know he wanted that rematch.
He's ready. He'll be ready.
He'll be ready. And next, I don't know if it's a co-main. It should be. You got Kamaru Usman, the ex welterweight champ, moving up to middleweight to fight Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, that's going to be a dog fight. I think it's going to be a war. Khamzat has never been taken down, and
does he get taken down this weekend?
He might. I was going to say Usman has only been taken down once, and that was in his last fight. It was the first time he ever got taken down by Leon Edwards. So who's going to get taken down and who's going to control it on the ground, in the clinch, up against the cage? I think that's probably going to get it done, unless someone gets knocked the fuck out, because it's going to be a war for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. And if it's not the co-main event, I'm kind of surprised by it. It should be, but it's on the card, so we'll enjoy it.
I hope it's a 5-round fight because I'm looking forward to that one. And if it doesn't end in the third, I want it to just keep going.
All right.
Yes, sir. I'm excited for that UFC fight card, but I mean, I think that's all we got for them, right?
Yeah, let's close out the show. Deuces.
Deuces.